everybody, and welcome to today's virtual wild encounter. My name is Nikki, and I am here with Strawberry, the Buff Orpington chicken. Now, I know this may sound crazy coming from a zookeeper that gets to work with all kinds of different species, but chickens are one of my favorite animals that I've ever gotten to work with. A lot of people think that, oh, it's just a chicken. We see those things all the time, but there's a lot of cool stories that a chicken has to tell. Now, just like there are different breeds of dogs, there are all kinds of different breeds of chickens too. So there's around, let's see, the American Poultry Association recognizes about 500 breeds of chicken, but there's way more than that around the globe. So they come in all different shapes and sizes. And again, just like those dog breeds come from the teeny little Chihuahua all the way up to the big Great Dane, chickens come in all sizes too. So the smallest one is the Old English Bantam, that's about this tall, or all the way up to a Brahma chicken, which is about as tall as a toddler. So they come in all kinds of sizes. So of course we know that chickens are great to have around because they do provide us with meat and eggs, but they also provide farms with really great pest control. So you guys can see here Strawberry is enjoying his favorite snack, which is bugs. They love to eat insects and worms that they find. You're so excited you had to sing about it, huh? Thanks, Strawberry. So they use those big toes that they have and those big claws to scratch around in the dirt and pull up all those bugs they like to eat. Of course, chickens like to eat other things too. They love to eat all kinds of fruits and veggies as well. So not only are they good at pest control on a farm, they're also good at cleaning up some of the produce that maybe some other animals might not want to eat. Now, chickens have a really awesome way that they have helped another bird species. Our national bird, the bald eagle, was in trouble for a while. They were endangered. They were having a really hard time because pesticides that were being used were making the shells of the eggs of those eagles really thin. And so even though the eagle parents were doing a good job raising them, the shells were too thin and the birds were too big, so they were accidentally... I'm getting to that part, hold on. They would accidentally crush the shells of their own eggs. So what conservationists did is they'd go out, take the shell or the egg away from the eagle parents, stick it under a chicken, let the chicken hatch out that egg, and once the eagle hatched, they'd put the baby back under the parent so it could be raised wild. So we have bald eagles out there in part because of chickens. Now, Strawberry here is a rooster. He is not a hen, so he's not going to lay any eggs. He's not going to sit on any eggs. But we can tell that he's a rooster and not a hen because of some really cool features on his head. If you look right here on the top, that thing that's on the top of his head, you can kind of put one on your head too. It's called a comb, like you'd comb your hair. And that thing is a lot bigger on roosters than on hens. Now, underneath his beak, he's got... That's right, Strawberry, you have wattles. And hens have much smaller wattles as well. So by looking at the size of his comb and his wattle, we know that he is a rooster. And of course, he's crowing a lot too. A lot of people don't realize that hens can crow too. They just don't. So that's a fun fact. Now, chickens are also great at laying eggs, of course. And so I'm sure a lot of you guys like eating eggs. Buff Orpington chickens like Strawberry here. This breed can lay around 120 eggs every year. Some chickens can lay up to 500 eggs every year, so it just depends on the chicken. So you guys out there watching at home, if you like to eat white eggs, raise your hand. Yeah, me too, I love them. If you like to eat brown eggs, raise your hand. Yeah, I see you guys. I love eating brown eggs too. Did you know there's not really a difference? A lot of people think that brown eggs are organic and they've been raised in a certain way, and white eggs have been raised in a different way, but it just depends on the breed they come from. Some breeds lay brown eggs, some breeds of chickens lay white eggs, and some breeds of chickens even lay green eggs. They're called Easter egg chickens. So it just depends on the chicken it comes from. Now, I'm sure a lot of you guys out there have questions about Strawberry and chickens and these wonderful animals, so throw them out there. If you guys have questions, we'd love to hear them so we can answer anything you're wondering about.
Well, you've already answered some of them. We were asking about the crown and the wattles. We do have a fun one here. Lucy, age 8, wants to know why he is named Strawberry.
That's a great question, Lucy. We named him Strawberry because he's actually named after a Beatles song. So Strawberry was hatched right here at the zoo about exactly 7 months ago. then he had 3 other roosters that he was hatched with. So there were 4 of them. The Beatles were the Fab Four. We had the Fab Four roosters. So we named them all after Beatles songs. So he's named after Strawberry Fields Forever. We also have JoJo Prudence chicken. We have, what's the other one? We have Strawberry. We have JoJo. We have Goose the chicken. That's not a Beatles song. But Max is weird, and that's his chicken, so he named him Goose. But anyway, that's why he's named Strawberry.
We're going to say Goose is after Top Gun for all the parents listening. How about
That's
that? So you said he was hatched recently. So how old? Elia, age 8, would like to know. Is he?
Yeah, he hatched here at the zoo about 7 months ago. So he's 7 months old. He's not even a year old yet. He's pretty big for a 7-month-old, huh?
He is. Cosette, age 9. Why do they have the comb? Is it to make them pretty?
They have the comb because it's built-in air conditioning. So that comb has lots of blood vessels that go up into the comb, and the same thing in the wattle. So when they get really hot and the breeze blows past that, it cools off the blood and helps cool off the rest of their body. So it's just a way for them to stay cool in warm weather.
Wow. Tatum, age 7. I'm so sorry, Tatum. Wants to know what makes him crow.
Well, when he feels like crowing, he'll just crow. But roosters in general like to crow early in the morning to kind of start the day off. They're saying, hey, I'm here. I'm a rooster. This is my space. And let all the other hens and roosters in the area know that they're around. If he hears a weird sound, sometimes he'll crow just to make himself seem big and bad. And sometimes I just think he likes the sound of his own voice.
And David would like to know, why is he brushing his beak against the table?
Great question. He doesn't have a napkin to use, so he has to clean his beak in another way. When he rubs his face on the ground, he's cleaning off the little bug bits that might be on his beak to make himself nice and pretty and clean.
Oh, I see he's finally checking out that camera for us. Cosette, age 9, a regular to our live chats. She'd like to know, how long do chickens live?
That's a great question. It depends on the kind of chicken that you have. But you can say around between 5 and 10 years is pretty average, depending on what breed of chicken you're talking about.
All right, Strawberry, you're moving an awful lot on me, sir. Megan would like to know, what is the red thing around his foot?
Oh, that's a good question too, Megan. That's called a band, and that's a way that we can identify which chicken is Strawberry versus Goose versus JoJo versus Donnie and Marie and all the other chickens that we get to work with. We need to know who's who because sometimes they can look really similar. So that little band around his foot's kind of like a bracelet. It comes on and off, and it's just to let us know that he is Strawberry. He's the man.
Abby, age 10, how much does he eat on one day?
That is another good question. So he gets to share his snack with his 3 brothers. And so our 4 roosters get a nice big couple cups of... Oh, we're talking about food. He got excited. They get several cups of poultry grain every day. They get a big heaping pile of greens, so like kale and lettuce and spinach. So if chickens like their greens, you should like your greens too. They also get a healthy dose of bugs every day, and they even get a mix of veggies like corn and peas and beans and carrots. So they get a nice smorgasbord. So 2 big bowls for those 4 chickens to share of all those things thrown together.
Well, that just sounds so delicious.
Doesn't it though? A little salad with worms on top. That's chicken's favorite meal.
Livy, age 5, how much does he weigh?
He weighs about 1 pound to 1.5 pounds. So depending on the time of year, he'll get a little heavier. Sometimes he'll get a little lighter, but he is still growing. He'll get a little bit bigger than this. So he'll be about 1.5 pounds by the time he's done.
Here's always that. Oh. Well, thank you, Strawberry. Sunny, age 9, would like to know, why can't you fly, Strawberry?
Well, chickens are all cousins. They're all in the same family as the Asian jungle fowl. So thousands and thousands and thousands of years ago, there was this bird, they're still out there, called the Asian jungle fowl, and they live on the ground. So any kind of bird that kind of looks like a chicken doesn't really need to fly very much because all their food's on the ground. But if he really needs to, he get a short little burst of flight energy to get up into a roost to sleep at night or to get away from something that might be trying to eat him. He can escape predators with just a little short flight. But he's not going to migrate or go very far.
Now we see him, he's eating bugs anymore. What's that little snack?
Oh, now we've moved on to dessert. He's getting a nice big bowl of blueberries. Strawberries eating blueberries.
So greens and fruits will make you grow into a really healthy chicken.
That's right. Just like us.
Ashlyn like to know, what causes Strawberry to make a sound?
Well, sometimes he wants everybody to know that he's a rooster and he's here and this is his space, and so he lets everybody know that by crowing. He'll also crow if he hears a weird sound, just to say, I'm here and I'm big and bad, don't mess with me, just in case that's a scary thing. And sometimes he just crows to crow. But when they're walking around and they're kind of feeling good and happy, they'll make little burp, 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 burp sounds, and that just means they're feeling nice and happy.
I thought I was about to vocalize there for a second.
I did too.
Cosette, age 9, how many chickens do we have?
Well, my department is called the Interpretive Programs Department. So we get to work with animals that are trained to come out, meet people, and teach people all about animals and conservation. So we get to work with 7 chickens in our department. But over in the farm, we have a lot more chickens, and I'm not quite sure how many chickens they have over there, but they have a lot of cool ones. So you can see other buff Orpingtons, like Strawberry here. Oh, look at that! He made you a present. You're welcome, everybody. Excuse me. You didn't see anything.
Birds are fun.
So the next time you guys are able to come see us here at the zoo, make sure you head down to the farm because you can see other buff Orpingtons like Strawberry and several other breeds too, so you can kind of compare and contrast the different kinds of chickens that are out there. Thanks, I know that's a good idea.
All right, and Ashlyn would like to know, what does he do if he feels threatened, besides, of course, the big scary sound to let him know that he's big and bad?
Yeah, if he feels threatened, he'll kind of puff up his feathers and he'll scratch his feet in the ground, kind of say, hey, I'm going to come get you if you don't leave me alone. If that doesn't work, he can use his beak to bite, and he can even use those, whoa, you're going to spill blueberry juice everywhere, my man. He can even use the claws that he has on his feet if he really has to kind of scratch and kick. But Strawberry never has to feel that way when he's with us. We always make sure that he knows that he's nice and safe, and that he has a really easy environment to live in, so he doesn't ever have to puff up or show out like that.
Well, that's great to hear. Speaking of that beak, Kagan, age 5, wants to know if he has any teeth.
Oh, he does not have any teeth. So once they are grown up, they just have a beak with nice smooth edges because they peck at their food to eat it. They don't chew their food. But when chicks are still in the egg, birds have something called an egg tooth. It's a special little nodule right on the end of their beak. So when it's time for them to hatch, they can use it to kind of chisel away at the egg to help them bust out. But after they grow up, after a couple weeks, that egg tooth goes away. No teeth, just a nice big beak.
And Livy, age 5, wants to know, which particular bugs is he going to eat?
Well, today he has a mixture of waxworms, mealworms, and crickets. But sometimes he likes to eat earthworms. Sometimes he gets these big things called superworms. He's not too particular though. Any kind of bug will do. But if he had to pick a number 1 favorite bug, I think it's the mealworms.
Oh, that's how my lizard is too. This is always a fun one. Sela, age 6, what kind of games does he like to play?
Oh, Sela, what a fun question. Here at the zoo, we like to give all our animals something called enrichment. Enrichment's anything that can keep their minds and bodies working in a way that's very natural. So we like to give them toys that'll help them do things that chickens normally do, like scratch around in the dirt, take dust baths, crow, explore. So sometimes we like to give them a big pan of sand, and the chickens like to get in there and roll around and mess with all their feathers and get that sand, because that's the way that chickens bathe themselves. It's kind of weird to us, but it works for a chicken. Sometimes we'll scatter bugs around so they have to go hunt and kick in the dirt to forage and get the food that they like to eat. Sometimes we'll even give them just something new to look at, and they can go investigate and poke at it, maybe a Kong toy or a toy ball, just different things to keep their minds and bodies working.
All right, Sunny, age 9, wants to know, how do chickens have any big relatives?
Do chickens have any big relatives?
I think that's what they're asking.
Aha. Well, there are certainly very big kinds of chickens. There are certain kinds of chickens called Brahma chickens that are a couple feet tall. They're huge. But chickens are a long-time descendant of dinosaurs. You guys are looking at a living, breathing dinosaur. So scientists have studied their genetic material and to see kind of what they're related to and where chickens came from. And you are looking at the modern-day version of a velociraptor. That's pretty cool. Now, velociraptors were only about 2 or 3 feet tall, but they were still pretty ferocious. So I think it's pretty awesome that I get to work with a modern dinosaur. Strawberry thinks it's cool too.
So I guess has he gone to see the dinosaur exhibit yet?
He hasn't gone to see the dino exhibit yet, but We have been doing some kind of fun shows this spring, or not kind of, they're super fun shows, that like to compare and contrast dinosaurs with modern day animals. So one thing that you can look at for chickens with those dinos is that they have feathers. So when you guys are able to come see our dinosaurs, you'll be able to walk through and see all the different adaptations that they have that they share with animals like Strawberry here. So those raptors had feathers, they had the long claws on their feet to help them hunt, and so there are some definite similarities there.
All right, Aaron, age 37. Do chickens have personalities?
They absolutely do. It's kind of hard to believe sometimes if you don't get to work with animals as much as zookeepers do, but it doesn't really matter the kind of species, or the kind of animal that you're working with. Each species and each individual is just a little bit unique and different. So sometimes we don't even have to look at those bands, like you can see Strawberry's red band on his leg, to know which chicken is which. We can just watch what they're doing. Depending on who comes to the door first, who's hanging back a little bit, who's investigating a toy. Strawberry, come over here. We can kind of tell who is who. So even the lizards that we work with have their own personalities. I think Strawberry might be out of treats, so he might be ready to go back and hang out with his brothers pretty soon. But maybe we can take one or two more questions.
We'll definitely want to hit this one. This is Caitlin 8 and Ian 5, who are definitely regular to this show.
Hi guys.
They want to
Welcome
know.
back.
Oh yeah, they want to know if he was rescued.
He was not rescued. A lot of animals that we have here at the zoo are rescued animals. There's quite a few that I get to work with, and I'm very privileged to get to work with those animals. But he was hatched right here at the zoo, so he's always lived here with us.
Well, we finish a final question here, and guys, I do apologize if we didn't get to today. We'll try to answer some later on. David says, I've heard chickens are smart enough to play and win at tic-tac-toe.
Chickens are super smart. A lot of people don't realize it. That whole phrase, oh, you're a bird brain, that should be a compliment. Birds are super smart. Chickens can learn all kinds of things. I've worked with roosters and chickens and hens that know how to tell the difference between different colors and different shapes. They can learn all kinds of stuff. So I'm sure that it would not be too hard for a chicken to learn how to play tic-tac-toe. In fact, chickens are a lot of times one of the first animals that zookeepers learn how to train because they're really quick and pick things up really quickly, and it's a great way to learn how to teach an animal to do the things that you'd like for them to do. Yeah, you love training, don't you? He's a rock star. Yeah, all right, guys. So that is all that we have for today. Strawberry's ready to go back and hang out with his brothers again and get a few more bugs for being awesome this afternoon. But thank you all so much for tuning in to our virtual wild encounter, and we'll see you next time. Bye.